Urgent! Steelers fan! Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Steelers urged to pursue $180 million QB instead of Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have continued their pursuit of four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. But if it were up to Fox Sports personality Nick Wright, the Steelers would have no part of Rodgers, instead pursuing a different veteran, Kirk Cousins. Wright explained why the Steelers should prefer Cousins instead of Rodgers on the March 21st episode of First Things First. I don't think he is 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is a needle mover at this point in his career, argued Wright via Steelers Depot's Jeremy Pike. I don't think he is worth the time and effort. If I were the Pittsburgh Steelers and I didn't want to draft a quarterback and I wanted to go the veteran route, I would rather simply call up Atlanta and give them a 6th-round pick for Kirk Cousins. I just think Kirk Cousins gives you no drama. And he's a lot younger. Wright added that Rodgers has had worse numbers than Cousins the past 3 years. Since the start of the 2022 season, Rodgers has posted a 63.7 completion percentage and averaged 6.7 yards per pass. Cousins has registered a 67 completion percentage and 7.4 yards per pass during the same span. Rodgers has also had 54 touchdowns and 23 interceptions in his last 35 games. Cousins has posted 65 touchdowns with 35 interceptions in 39 contests. Over the past 3 seasons, Cousins signed a 4-year, $180 million contract last offseason. Why Kirk Cousins could make sense for the Steelers Wright isn't the first pundit to link the Steelers to Cousins. Bleacher Report columnists have mentioned Pittsburgh as a potential landing spot for the veteran quarterback multiple times this offseason, but there's nothing concrete to suggest the Steelers are interested in pursuing Cousins even as a fallback option to Rodgers. The Steelers hosted Rodgers for a visit at their team facility on March 21st, but the team continues to wait on whether the 41-year-old wants to sign a contract to come to Pittsburgh. On paper, Cousins makes sense as a logical next potential target for the Steelers if Rodgers doesn't sign in Pittsburgh. Cousins led the NFL with 16 interceptions last season, throwing 9 in his final 5 games before getting benched. However, the veteran indicated he played those games with an injured right elbow and shoulder. That would explain why he went. From playing relatively well in October to a level less than serviceable a month later, last season was also Cousins' first one back from a torn Achilles tendon. Rodgers returned last year from the same injury, but Rodgers suffered his injury earlier in the 2023 season, giving him more time to recovery before Week 1, 2024. Cousins will turn 37 in August, which makes him almost 5 years younger than Rodgers as well. How much could Cousins cost on trade market? It's pretty clear Rodgers is Pittsburgh's preferred quarterback option. If the Steelers can't sign Rodgers, then the team could also circle back to Russell Wilson. The organization might prefer that than to give up draft capital for a soon-to-be 37-year-old. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported on March 22nd that Wilson is not totally off the Steelers' list to resign. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, though, painted a much more bleak situation for Wilson in Pittsburgh. Nothing shocks me, but I would be very surprised if Russell Wilson, under any circumstances, is back in Pittsburgh. Pelissero said on The Rich Eisen Show on March 21st how much it could cost to acquire Cousins may be a deciding factor in whether the Steelers are interested in Cousins as a Rodgers fallback option. NFL insider Josina Anderson reported the asking price for Cousins could be a 3rd-round pick. The Falcons appear to be holding on to Cousins in the hopes of getting a decent draft return. If the Steelers become desperate enough this offseason, the Falcons could have leverage in any potential negotiations. The Falcons, though, may also agree to any type of trade that gives them some salary relief. Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz reported a current NFL general manager told him the Falcons are calling everyone right now that will listen to offers for Cousins. The veteran is set to be a $40 million backup quarterback in Atlanta this season. Until the Steelers land another starting quarterback, it's worth continuing to follow Cousins' market. But as of March 22nd, the Steelers seem to have their hearts set on Rodgers. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest, the black and gold news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. The Pittsburgh Steelers are all in on signing Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers seem destined for one another. Even with the New York Giants still involved after signing Jameis Winston, the Steelers and Rodgers are making progress in the right direction. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN says the Steelers' pursuit of Rodgers is a little different than any other free agent they have gone after this year, and more than that, they are aggressively going after Rodgers. Essentially, the team has not completely closed the door on Russell Wilson, but it certainly does not seem like there is any momentum in that direction. Instead, the Steelers are all in on Rodgers. He spent all day there, just more of a get-to. No exploratory session, Fowler said. They weren't talking hard numbers. They've already got a contract offer standing out to Rodgers in place, so they talked about fit. He met with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, Mike Tomlin, owner Art Rooney, and GM Omar Khan. In fact, I was told the Steelers wanted to make this meeting happen so much they skipped Michigan's Pro Day yesterday, which if you know the Steelers, that's a big deal. I checked with the team source that said they're aggressively pursuing this. As number one on their radar, the Steelers' visit with Rodgers went well, and both sides came out of thinking positively about each other, Adam Schefter reported. Earlier this week, the Steelers and Rodgers opened a line of communication with one another after things had largely been silent the week prior, and it seems Rodgers is nearing a decision. Pittsburgh Steelers have trade competition for strong-armed quarterback if the Pittsburgh Steelers fail to land Aaron Rodgers. One of their backup plans could be moving on to New England Patriots quarterback Joe Milton. Milton is on the trade block. After the Patriots signed Josh Dobbs and relegated him to what looks like third string after a solid start to end the 2024 season. However, there is competition for Milton if the Steelers wanted to land him. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN says the Dallas Cowboys are the team to watch for Milton. The Patriots are exploring a trade. I'm told several teams are interested. One team to potentially watch for is the Dallas Cowboys because they are looking for a good backup, a young backup with upside they may not get in the draft. Maybe they get in a trade, Fowler said. Milton, in any trade scenario, will cost a third-round pick, according to Tony Grossi. One drawback would be the cost. Sources closer to the situation than me expect the asking price of the Patriots to be a third-round pick, Grossi writes. Milton came out of Tennessee as a strong-armed but raw quarterback. In his one game of playing time with the Patriots, he impressed, throwing for 241 yards and 1 touchdown while completing 9% of his passes. Former Steelers star sends bold message about Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers have been very aggressive this offseason as they look to get back into Super Bowl contention. Already, the Steelers have pulled off a major trade. To acquire star wide receiver DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, they have also made a few other moves to add more talent. Pittsburgh went out and signed former Cleveland Browns safety Juan Thornhill, agreed to terms with cornerback Brandon Eccles, brought back quarterback Mason Rudolph, signed veteran cornerback Darius Slay Jr., added running back Kenneth Gainwell, and landed linebacker Malik Harrison. Lately, the Steelers have also emerged as the favorite to sign future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Adding more talent to the roster is important, especially with an elite head coach like Mike Tomlin. Regardless of the talent he has been given to work with, Tomlin has found ways to win. In fact, he has still never had a losing season since taking the helm for Pittsburgh back in 2007. Ryan Clark, a former star safety for the Steelers, has spoken out with a bold message about Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is unfireable in my opinion, Clark said. He also said a lot more about Tomlin in his social media post. Mike Tomlin is unfireable in my opinion, but that means nothing. So I asked Cam Hayward why others still believe in Mike T so much. His answer was informative but also layered. It started with transparency, ended with his ability to motivate. Cam was ready to retire. Pick Twitter. ComKY say KJKIU3 Ryan Clark Real or Clark 25 March 21st, 2025. Throughout his entire tenure as Pittsburgh's head coach, Tomlin has compiled a 18-3-10-7-2 record. He also led the Steelers to a Super Bowl win back in 2008. Since that Super Bowl, Pittsburgh has had a lot of good seasons that haven't resulted in a championship. Tomlin and company are hoping to change that in 2025. And now, Steelers fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for the Black and Gold. I'll be back any moment with more Steeler Nation news. Here we go, Steelers, huh? Here we go.